Right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast. Welcome back to another episode of potentially your favorite Nigerian podcast. Bear with me, your host, General Prime. Right? I I hope I got that one right this time around. Okay, so this is going to be the second podcast of the year, and well, I can't believe that one entire week has passed already, and we are one entire week into the new year. Like I cannot believe that time is moving that fast. There is this saying that I heard one time. I can't remember where I heard this saying that time is as swift as an time moves as swift as an Indian arrow. And it just made a lot of sense because like one day, one night you go to bed, or let's say one night you fall asleep on the couch, and then the next morning you wake up in bed just differently. And then the next day, you're fucking paying bills and working 60 hours a week, and like fucking paying bills and barely having enough time to sleep, and barely having enough time for yourself to do the things that you love, and to do like the things that you enjoy, and to just live and to just thrive. It's like, why is it like that all the time? Like, why is it that this is how 95 95% of people live their lives? Like, why is it so? Like, we're barely into the new year, and somebody's stressed as fuck. Like, somebody's stressed the fuck out. Stressed the fuck out. I notice that I make a lot of mistakes when I'm like just ranting like this and just going off. Like I when I listen back, I realize that I make an entire lot of mistakes, and I misuse my words, and I misname events and places and people's names, and I just say a lot of trash, and I want to try to not do that. I want to try to be cautious and conscious of not making that mistake. So, what am I going to talk? What did I want to talk about today? I wanted to talk about how we're already one entire week into the new year, and it seems like people have forgotten feels like people are starting to forget or abandon their New Year's resolutions already. Like everyone has gone back to doing what they used to do before. Not entirely everyone, anyway. Not entirely everyone. Like every year, we already know this. Like every year, people like to come into the new year with this new year, new me bullshit. And people swear that they are going to change and they are going to do better and be better. But 5 days into the new year, 1 week into the new year, even a month into the new year, bro, everybody gives up and everybody just goes back to. I mean, if if New Year's resolutions actually really worked, right? Don't you think that like as in life would be a lot better? Like we humans would be a lot kinder towards each other. Don't you think? Don't you think so? Like I feel like if New Year's resolutions actually worked, I feel like there'll be a lot more healthier people. There'll be a lot less lazy people. There'll be a lot less enthusiastic people. There'll be a lot more like active people. There'll be a lot kinder and better parents. There'll be a lot more understanding and longer lasting marriages. There'll be a lot more less there'll be a lot less bullying. It's always difficult for me to say that word, bullying. There'll be a lot less wars, and then let's say there'll be a lot more progress, and let's say and progress and honesty and trust and just forwardness in the entire world. Like there will not be a lot of corruption in countries, and there and in governments. Like everything will just be blissful, and everything will just be effortless in a sense, right? That is if New Year's resolutions worked, because I feel like I just have to believe that every new year, everybody subconsciously, no matter how evil you think you are, or no matter how lost, or no matter how um let's say unreach, inaccessible, or just what I'm trying to say, no matter how lost you are, or no matter how down bad you have it, right? Every new year, every single one of us like kind of wishes that, as that just wishes that for them to be better, and for things to be a lot better for them than they had it the previous year. I just want to believe that that's what happens, right? Like everyone just, even if it's subconsciously, everyone just wishes that things, that they are better, that they get better, right? Not even that things for things to not even that not even for things to get better, that they themselves get better. Like everybody wishes that, even if it's subconsciously, right? So, but if it actually really worked, I feel like all these things I've mentioned would have been in place, but we don't see that happening, and that's that just means that New Year's resolutions don't work. So, like, if they don't work, then like how can what then is the point? Or should I say, how then is someone now able to, should I say, decide to like make themselves better? Because, like I've said before, I feel like everybody wants to be better. I don't know where I'm going with this, and this is not what I even wanted to talk about today. So let me just circle back to what I feel, or what I think I wanted to talk about today. I actually cannot even remember what it is I said I wanted to talk about today. Like sometimes, okay, like this is something I find interesting about podcasting that I never really had to think about before. Maybe I think I might have had this kind of thought, but I didn't really notice that this is something that comes with every, let me say, that comes with every form of content creation. So, like, I used to like make YouTube videos, right? And I used to like write video essays and talk about, and then write them, like make an entire script, and then like read it out in my I didn't even have a fucking microphone back then. I was just using my I was just using some cheap earphone microphones to record. And anybody that listened, I'm saying anybody because I didn't get there were not a lot of views, and it kind of felt like it's either I'm not doing it well, or I am so unique in this world that nobody I cannot relate to anybody. So that was how that I used to do YouTube videos, and I never got like a lot of views. And so, as best as I did the video editing myself, and then audio and everything, and gaming footages and stuff like that, I kind of feel like the content I was pushing out, or I was making, were things I found interesting and thought that I could share with the world. And it kind of felt like there are not enough people that care about it, or there are not enough people that want to know about stuff like that to like decide to watch that video. Or maybe the algorithm was not pushing the video, but I don't understand. But what I'm saying is that I used to make YouTube videos, right? And when I would write scripts or before I write script, I would have to like think of what I would want to talk about. And so I was always trying to come up with ideas I think people will find interesting, or like concepts or stories, or let's say funny animals that maybe you cannot believe exist, stuff like that. So I was always trying to like come up with ideas that people would find interesting when I'm at work, when I'm in bed, when like when I'm doing anything. I'm always like trying to come up with ideas, and it was usually difficult to come up with ideas, right? So I didn't think that was. I just felt like, well, I write video essays, so I have to like come up with interesting ideas that people would want to um hear about. So, but now I'm doing podcasts. Like now I am into the world of podcasting, and even though I don't my pod, even though the theme of my podcast is not like, it's not scripted, because for some strange reason there are podcasts that are fucking scripted, which is weird. I mean, the whole idea of podcasting is just be yourself and just say things and just express yourself the best way you can, right? Well, I mean, I guess if making scripts is the best way you can express yourself, then well, touche. I mean, not touche. Kudos to you. So, anyways, what I found out in the world of podcasting is that as casual and like just free as my podcast is, I still have to think of what to talk about. Like, I still have to think of things that might be funny or quirky or weird or strange or cosmically scary, or like conspiratorial. I just need to like come up with things that I feel like my one or two listeners literally might find interesting, or to like give a thought for a second or two. So yeah, that's what I've noticed about podcasting. That as free as it is, I still need to like come up with things that people, and I hope that the things I've been talking about for like 11, for this is going to be the 11th episode. The things that I've been talking about for like 11 episodes now um are interesting enough to like make, I don't know, to um like, for example, let's say someone is on this concept I'm trying to like paint, the picture I'm trying to paint right now is, let's say someone is on the streets, right? Then they find something, saying, let's say they find something like gold in a hole, or something strange that no one has ever seen. They will beckon on people to like come and see it, right? That's just what I'm doing. They'll beckon to people to come and like check it out. So I hope that what you listen to on this podcast is kind of odd and unusual to you, that you have to like beckon on people to also come and check it out. So that's what I'm trying to say. I hope you enjoy the podcast. It's all I'm saying. So uh I don't know what else to say, but there is this thing I've been thinking about, right? There is this weird, odd concept. Like I just said before, I have to like kind of come up with ideas that are odd and weird and thoughtful and thought provoking. And so anytime you hear me say there is this thing I've been thinking about, just know that that is the product of all, and that I really had to think about it, even though it might be weird. Because you have to also understand that most of the time when I do these deep thoughts dives and all this deep thinking and stuff, most of the time I'm usually high. And I'm usually high because that's when, I don't know, I know what I'm saying is that, what I meant to say is that I am able to do the deep thinking, because that's when I won't be that much invested in my phone, or I'll just be, because when I smoke, I don't I don't understand why weed is illegal, or and punishable by jail, or like, I don't understand why weed is illegal, because I mean, I know the reason behind why most of the countries today still find still classify weed as a Schedule One drug, which is just fucking crazy. Um, Meanwhile, it is as in it is so beneficial to the human population. Weed is so beneficial that everybody just wants to. If you, I mean, I will keep preaching it no matter what happens. I will keep. See, I'm a pothead. I'm a stoner, and I'm an advocate for the legalization of cannabis all over the world because you take this stuff and then you just chill, and then your mind is able to be set free a little bit from the hustle and bustle of life, and just wander aimlessly and endlessly, and just keeps stumbling on odd thoughts and theories and experiments and ideas and sometimes stories and music and jokes and stuff like that. It just frees the mind and it just like mellows the body. So for you to say that, for you to say that, for you to schedule it as a very dangerous drug and then um very dangerous thing to society, and anybody that takes it will be punished, that means that you're the devil. That means that you're the devil. Imagine, imagine making weed illegal, and you know the see people, all these pharmaceutical companies would rather prescribe all these weird drugs. Like I don't know if you watch all these fucking pharmaceutical adverts when they are making their pharmaceutical adverts, when when they are advertising some weird drug, right? In the advert, you see people that are happy, old people that are happy, they are smiling, they are outside, they are in greenery, they are just peaceful, and then they will tell you that the drug can do this for you and the drug can do that for you. And then at the end of the advert, you hear one very fast voice, very fast voice. The person will now tell you that this drug has side effects. The person will now list like 1,000 side effects. And this drug, you just told me now that this drug can cure blindness and can cure everything. And then, but at the expense of me shitting for like 5 days straight. What? Or having blue blood, or like purple toenails, or like not being able to smell pepper. Like, what the fuck? And if symptoms persist after 3 days, you should consult your doctor so that you give me more of these fucking drugs. Come on, man. So pharmaceutical companies would rather sell you all these evil drugs and things that, do you know? I don't even really know much about it, but the most that I can remember from what I've heard about it is that all these painkillers, they are designed to get you addicted. Like if you take to, like, is it Xanax or I don't know. I don't really know the names of all these fucking drugs that they give to, especially all these veterans that come back from war to help with their PTSD and stuff like that, and their pains, obviously their physical pains. So they give them these drugs, and the drugs get them hooked. I've forgotten the name of the drug. Gets them hooked, and um, they they keep taking it, and then they become dependent on it. And when it's no longer, like, when they get, like, it's no longer able to like to work its magic, it now, like, they now transition into heroin, and that's how a lot of all these people die. So these fucking pharmaceutical companies, bro, have I been recording? Have I been recording? Oh, I have. All right. Yeah. Wait, just to be sure. Just to be sure. All right. Yes, I'm actually recording. Why did I think I was not recording? You can see it's clearly recorded. What the fuck? Anyway, so what was I saying? These pharmaceutical companies would rather sell you these um evil drugs so that you get hooked on it, and then you keep coming back and buying more and making them preposterous amount of money, like making them so unreasonably wealthy that, like, it just shows how evil these people are. Like, they would rather lobby the governments that don't have sense to begin with, to and convince them to make these herbal drugs that we have, that nature has given us, that is in accordance with our biology, that is absolutely 100% good for us, that enlightens us and like shows us the way and shows us how to behave. Like, they will lobby against these governments to convince the governments to make these drugs, or we're not well, I don't even know if it's right to call them drugs, to make these herbs like fucking illegal. That should show you how fucking evil you are. Like, that should show you how, as in unreasonably, as in, how will I even call it? It's almost comically evil you are. Because why would you want to do that? Like, why would you choose power and money over life? Like, imagine being, like, let's say you get attacked by armed robbers, and then they tell you your money or your life. Like, will you give them your life? Won't you like tell them, even no matter how wealthy you are? Like, I'm sure you've seen movies where, like, let me say, the rich guy will tell the people that if they're able to get him out of whatever uncomfortable situation that they are in, that is going to pay them like a huge amount of money. Like, it happens in movies, and we see all these celebrities walking around with their bodyguards. We see government cocooned with bodyguards and secret service members and air force and like marines and navy, and just everywhere the presidents are just like surrounded with security. So that is to show you that to them, their lives are very important, and then they'll give whatever amount of money that they can give to protect their lives. So 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 if you apply that logic to these um pharmaceutical companies that now choose money over life, I say, you start to see that, you start to see that these people are so fucking out of it that it's not even it's unquantifiable. Like, you cannot even understand it. It's beyond comprehension. So imagine, do you okay, as bad as that is, as bad as it is, right? There is a nefarious reason. There's a nefarious reason for for them doing what they're doing, and that's because they know that if these herbs are if more and more people continue taking these herbs, like, they're going to lose a lot. It's obviously about the money and power. For all this ranting that I've been ranting since, I could have just cut it short by just saying that it's obviously about the money and power. So, like, these people are so, as in, it gets to a point where you chasing money becomes almost slavish. Like, it's no longer an ambition thing. It's not like it's not even obsession. It's like an addiction. Like, do you know that chasing money can be can get to a point? I mean, why would somebody want to buy a 50 why would someone want to buy a $50 million yacht? Right? You just stay and you decide that you're going to spend 50 million on a boat, with Wi-Fi and and soft bed and swimming pool. Like, that's all. That's all. That's all. $50 million. Some people even go as far as spending 100 million, 200 million. Like, all these celebrities that are worth 200 million. Let's say, like, for example, now Joe Rogan, now he's worth like $200 million. Imagine he's a fucking wealthy guy. He's a fucking wealthy guy. He said that, like, there's one time I was watching his podcast, and then I think he saw a car and he was like, oh, I feel like buying. Yeah, he was talking about his old Supra, his old Mark IV Supra. And then he just reminisced on how he missed the car, and then he said, "Oh, after now, I'm going to go and buy the car again." Like, that's how wealthy this person is. Now, all that is wealth, all that is wealth is 200 and $200 million is not small money. Is you have one, you have two, you have three, you have four, 200 million of it. That's what you have. And do you know what $1 million is? Do you know what $10 million is? Bro, there are people that $30 million $30,000 can change their lives. People like that's anyway. Let me not let me not too divert. So this guy has like $200 million. Then somebody's boat is Joe Rogan's entire life. As in, how? How is that possible? And why is that possible? Like, I understand that. See, yes, you worked for the money, right? You worked for that $200 million. You worked to have $1 billion. You worked to have $50 billion, right? You worked to have $100 billion. Like, there are people worth $100 billion today. God damn. Somebody's worth 100 billion. I know that there are people worth more than 100 billion, but bro, do you know? I'm sure everybody knows by now that 1 million seconds is like 12 days, and a billion seconds, 1 billion seconds is 31 days, 31 years. Sorry. Like, that's to show you the vast difference between a million and a billion. Like, a million seconds is just ordinary 12 days. But a billion seconds is 31 entire years. Which is wild. So in comparison, that's what I'm trying to compare. That's what I'm trying to like. That is the picture I'm trying to paint for you to understand what I mean by $100 billion. That's like you can actually swim inside. Like, if they stack $100 billion, like into the shape, you can swim inside. Like, if they, bro, you can swim inside. That's what I'm saying. So I understand that you worked hard though for this your $100 billion, but you cannot tell me that you did not like fuck some people over. Like, you cannot tell me that you did not cheat, like you did not scam, you did not like use people, you did not like deceive, you did not betray. You cannot tell me that it's not possible. It's not possible. It's not possible to amass that amount of wealth without without it being at the detriment of some other people. Like, it cannot be humanly possible for that to happen. So I think that people that are worth, anybody that is that he anybody that his or her network gets to $100 billion is no longer a thing of ambition, or you want to like add bring something to the table of society, or stuff like that. It's now an addiction. Like, getting money and amassing more and more and more and more and more money is an addiction. Because, I mean, look at Jeff Bezos. Does he look normal to you? Like, he's a weird guy. Like, he's a weird person. And I understand that he has not that he resigned, should I say retired, and he's just like getting jacked and like fucking bitches and riding in his $200 billion yacht. So these people are kind of, they're as in they're kind of should I say enchanted. Like, they've given their entire souls to the concept of chasing money. And in a sense, they're still, no, I'm not going to say that they're still in the same boat as all of us, because it's vastly apparent that these people, they're in another world. But what I was going to want to say was that, in a way, they're in the right race with us, because they keep chasing the same things we are chasing, but them just on a larger scale. Like, we are chasing money to be able to pay rent and pay bills and like just get by, but them they keep chasing money that like man is insatiable. Like man is insatiable. Man will always want more and more and bigger and better and better and newer and ref- finer and finer. Like that's just the course of man. Like no matter how big you get, no matter how wealthy you get, you would always you will always want more. So that's why they always produce new things every fucking year. And no matter how new something is, it will always be replaced by something even newer. Even though the difference is minuscule, of even though the difference between this new and newer thing is infinitesimal, like there will always be newer things, and people will pay huge amount of money. Just you People will pay unnecessary amounts of money to just have the newer stuff. Like that is the course of man. If somebody asks you, okay, if somebody asks you what is the purpose of man on earth, I feel like this is man's core purpose, just to have new shit, and he's going to do everything in his power just to. I feel like, how did this story even start, sef? Just let's assume, or let's just um let's just say that in the past, like when cavemen existed, let's say two cave oh sorry, not even cavemen, let's say at the advent of agriculture, right, when people stay having farmlands. Let's say one farmer came up with this concept of having a hole, and then but another farmer, his neighbor, like usually dug with his hand to plant, right? And then this other farmer like probably made a hole out of wood or something like that. Um, this other farmer, and then I feel like the next logical thing that he's going to do is to like clown his neighbor for using his hand, like, and then make himself feel like he's more superior for using a hoe. And then that's where the whole entire drama starts. Now his neighbor will now want to like make a better hoe that looks more like the proverbial or contemporary or recognizable hoe that we know of today. And then he'll see it, and then he'll want to improve. Just like we just we just want to be better than the next person. I feel like that's just where this entire story came up with, and it just became our purpose to just shit on the next guy. That's why we go. That's why we go to wars. That's why we like have disputes. That's why we have conflicts, just to shit on the next guy, just to like suck it, dude. Just to teabag the next guy. That's why this is man's purpose. Man's purpose is just to shit on the next guy. That is it. That is man's inherent core purpose, to do these things I've mentioned. Because what else will it be? Like to worship God? Wow. What's to worship God and go where? What else will it be to I mean, one of the tenets of sucking it to the next guy has to be multiplication, as in reproduction. Because if I'm too old to suck it to the next guy, there has to be someone that comes from me that will have to suck it to the that will have to suck it to the next guy. So that's why we keep reproducing and reproducing. So reproduction is one of the tenets of sucking it to the next guy, which is man's inherent purpose. So if we didn't have this, then what the fuck are we going to be doing? We're not going to be worshiping any god, because even the concept of God is like, my God is better than your God. Like in every single thing we do, in every aspect of our lives, in every single time, every single thing that we do, we are always doing it to make ourselves feel, even when there is no such thing as altruism. Like there is no such thing as altruism. Nobody is selfless. We are all selfish bastards. Nobody is selfless, no matter how righteous and no matter how uh, lacking of ulterior motives they seem to be, or they seem to have. Everybody is selfish. Everybody wants something for themselves. Like, did you know that Mother Teresa was an actual monster? Like, she would not she would reuse syringes. She would not give medical care or medical attention to people that are dying, because her excuse would be that there is it holiness, or there is beauty in suffering, stuff like. She was just horrible I'm sure. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but Mother Teresa is not the saint that history has painted her to be. She was actually a monster. And like the saying goes, I'm not going to claim that saying, it's not me that said this. There's this saying that history is written by the victors. So obviously the victors will want to paint themselves as the good guys. So that I feel like whatever history about Mother Teresa, painting her as this holy Mary archetype, must have been of her own doing. Because why is the truth hidden? Do you understand? So why is the truth hidden? So not even only Mother Teresa. Like, did you know that Martin Luther King had an affair? I think it's had an affair. Like, did you know that Gandhi was like a kind of a pedophile? Like, most of all these people that we give reverence to are not as, like, nobody wholly passed. Like, nobody is like 100% good. We are just inherently imperfect, and which is supposed to be fine. So what I was trying to say is that nobody is, like, there is no such thing as altruism. Like, nobody, no matter how let's say selfless you think you are, there is this little thing that you tell yourself, even though it's unconsciously, even though it's subconsciously, in fact, there is this little thing that you pat yourself on your back for doing something good, right? And so that is what drives us. So I feel like these pharmaceutical companies, just to go back to what I was originally talking about, these pharmaceutical companies have figured all these things out. They know that if these herbs are prevalent and people are taking them, that there will be more unity in the world. There will be more prosperity. There will be more like, we would communicate more, and we would be is it unity? Is unity the right word to use? Like, we'll be more unified, right? We'll be like the ants, basically. So I've forgotten the word I was going to use, but let's just say that we'll be as unified as the ants. So and I know that when I'm listening to this tomorrow, when I'm listening to this tomorrow, or while editing, the word will come back to my mind, and I'll be like, why didn't I remember this thing? But it is what it is anyway. So yeah, so they know that these are the things that will happen. We'll be more unified, and they don't want that to happen. I cannot understand why you won't want. I mean, it will also benefit you. Like, if the whole world is kind of utopic, like if we're in a utopia, right? It will also benefit you now, wouldn't it? Like, if no matter how wealthy you are, like, or is it that you can't just stomach the concept of you being on the same level with everybody else? In a way, do you know that utopia is what communism is what socialism wants to be, but can never be, because of how we humans, I mean, do you know that the concept of communism and socialism and capitalism, they are all very good concepts, and people would crucify me for what I'm about to say. I mean, if people even get to hear what I'm saying. It's not like a lot of people listen to this podcast anyway. But let's assume that people listened to this podcast. Like, I had a lot of people listening to this podcast. I'm sure shit, now I'm coming to the realization that not a lot of people listen to this podcast, and I'm actually talking to myself, and then myself is going to listen to it tomorrow. And I'm going to fucking feel bad. Don't feel bad, don't feel bad. Anyway, so um what was I saying? Let's assume that people listen to this podcast, right? A lot of people will get mad at what I'm about to say. um I feel socialism, capitalism, communism, social demo. What's what's what is the other one? That is kind of like a mixed. So anyway, all these concepts, right, are very good concepts, but because we humans are inherently greedy, even though we are very social, I don't understand how we can be I don't understand how we can just be so uh, like double-edged and have double standards. Like, how can we? And so ironic that we are very social animals and we cannot exist alone. We only and we cannot like survive alone. We survive, we thrive because of how sociable we all are. Like, the reason why we the human species survived and thrived and dominated is because we have this trait of that just happen to be us being social. Like, if you put somebody in, like, if you put all, like, say, all these prisoners, no matter how dangerous and crazy and how monstrous, and no matter the kind of sin or crime that they committed, if you put a criminal in isolation, like, don't give him don't just isolate him, put him in a room, in a dark room, and he's not able to communicate with anybody. You just throw his food to him once once every 2 or 3 days. Like, you're going to break down that person's mind. Like, you're going to fuck that person up in 1,000 ways. So we are not sociable. Like, sorry, we are not. We are very sociable, and we cannot survive alone. So, but yet, whenever we come together, we always fight. Like, how can we have these two opposing traits? It doesn't make sense, but it's actually, but that's what we are seeing. Like, we are very, very sociable, but then we come together and we fight and we want to kill everybody so we can be alone. But we are very sociable. And then once we're alone, we now start looking for who to socialize with. And then when we now socialize with them, we now start fighting with them, and so that we can be like, what? Make up your mind, man. What the fuck are you doing? So this is the human condition. We are very sociable yet antisocial. So all these concepts, right, they are very, very good concepts, but it's just because of how we humans are that they cannot work. That we can, like, in a perfect world, there are countries that can be practicing socialism and it will work perfectly for them. There are countries that can be practicing communism and it will work perfectly for them, like 100% perfectly. Like, oh, we are communists, okay, the community, the government owns everything, and the government will allocate stuff to you, and you're going to thrive, and you're going to give a person, but the government owns everything, but they're not going to take it. It's just for you to thrive and just for you to succeed and be successful. Because all these concepts, right, they all ideally, in an ideal world, they all their aim is to their aim, as different as three of them are, they all have their conclusion is all the same. Like, their aim is all the same. Like, their aim is to for the betterment of mankind. Is betterment a word? I don't know. For the enrichment and fulfillment and progress of mankind and happiness of mankind. So this is what all of them aspire to be or aspire to achieve. But even though their means are different, like their own, the way they want to, like, carry out the whole action is different. So communism is different, socialism is different, capitalism is different. But in an ideal world, all these things would work and everybody will end up being happy. Like, let us say let's say the most social, let's say Denmark or Finland. They are social democratic nations, right? So they are mixing between socialism and democracy. But they're the best example that I can give, even though they're not completely social. They're not complete. They don't completely practice socialism. They mix it up, but they're the best example I can give, right? Then we go to Russia, which is a communist state. Is also the, or let's say China, which is a communist state, is the best example I can give of success. Um, even though I don't agree with their idea of success, which is weird, and calling it success self is actually weird. And then let's say America, which is a capitalist state, USA being a capitalist state and the most successful, right? Although they are flawed, all these countries are flawed in their own way. They've managed to achieve a level of what their original intention was. Like communism is obviously, as from all we can see and from the most we can tell, communism is obviously working well for China, right? Even though China is a surveillance state, there are more do you believe that there are 1 billion people in China, but there are more cameras in China than people? Like that's astoundingly mad. Like that's fucking crazy that there are 1.8 billion people in China, but there are more cameras in China than there are people. Like China is what China would have been the perfect place to play. China is perfectly Oceania from the book 1984. China is just Oceania. China is just Oceania because Big Brother is free fucking where. Like there's this video I was watching, I saw on Twitter one time where this guy attacked a woman in an alleyway, and in his mind, like there was nobody that would see him, and there were no cameras there, but it was a camera that was capturing him attacking a woman in a dead end isolated alleyway. Like that's crazy. Like so, China is but communism, as weird as it is, it's obviously kind of weirdly, oddly working for the Chinese, and I would say capitalism, because America is the land of the free and home of opportunities, and has always been, but in my own opinion, no longer carries that title because opportunity in America has dwindled drastically. Um, America is the home of capitalism, where anybody with anybody with a dream and the spirit of hard work can achieve their dreams and be a successful person. But so yeah, but I feel like if we removed greed from the equation, if there was somehow that we could just delete the DNA of greed from all humans and make us because I feel like greed also is an important tool and makes us aggressive and makes us want to have more and consequently improve the world or destroy it, no matter whichever way you see it. Greed is a very essential tool. I feel like, but if we're able to remove greed from the equation and then create for ourselves this utopia where everybody is just calm and quite calculated and responsible and like peaceful, then um these three ideas, are they even economic ideas, would work perfectly. Like socialism would work perfectly, um communism would work perfectly, capitalism would work perfectly. For every nation can choose to practice to do it how they want to do it, and yet the outcome will still be the same. Like everyone will still end up being happy. But we don't see that today. I mean, the people that came up with these concepts were clearly intelligent people. We talk about Karl Marx, right? We are clearly very intelligent people, but their ideas and their should I say, let's say their ideas and ideologies have been perverted and um turned into, and then their original should I say motive has just been lost to time, which is just fucking fucked up. So now we have all these herbs, right? We have weed, we have mushrooms, we have like ayahuasca, we have LSD, we have peyotes, we have like DMT, we have all these things that enhance and like open the mind. Do you know that there is like, if every government can implement taking psychedelics to their citizens, just like for example now in Israel now, like as soon as you turn eight, is it 18th? I don't know. Like as soon as you get to a certain age in Israel, be you a man, be you a woman, you are required, you are mandated, you are like conscripted to serve in the army. Be you a man or a woman, to serve in the military for 1 year. And if you want to continue serving in the military, you're free to. And you are required to do it. I think they even do it here in this fucking island. I think they do it here too. Like, but these fucking people, these Turkish people are fucking lazy. Not all of them. I know a lot of like white guys that have that don't do it. But in Israel, it is required for you to join the military for 1 year. So if every government in the world, right, can use that same logic to implement once you turn 18, or let's say 18, in fact, why are we even pushing it? What is it? Okay, the brain does not fully develop until age 25. But fuck it. It can help the brain to develop. Like, let's just say age 20. Age 20. Once you get to the age of 20, every single country in this world, the government of every single country in this world, if they can implement this and make it a law, that a required law, like a mandatory law, that once every citizen gets to the age of 20, they are required to take psychedelics, like to do mushrooms for at least 2 times every month for a year. Like twice a month. Not okay, it's too much now. Like twice, once every 3 months. Yes, that is a lot. That is a lot more logical. Once every 3 months to do psychedelics, and not even only one psychedelic. Like you do all of them. Like you smoke weed. You like do LSD. You do ayahuasca. You do DMT. You do all of them. At the end of the day, you do all of them. The good drugs, or not fucking cocaine or fucking the good drugs. So if everybody is required to do all these things, bro, I am telling you, even sensory deprivation, like when you put you in, like, sensory deprivation now, like they'll put you in a tank filled with salt water so that you can be able to float, and then like the tank has sound dead, like the tank is soundproof, and then they'll now cover it, and then everywhere you'll be naked, and there will be total darkness, and it will be like you're floating, and then you just lose yourself, and you will not have you cannot feel like, for people who have experienced these sensory deprivation tanks, they understand what I'm saying. Although me, I've never done it though, but I would like to do it. Sponsors, anybody? Anyway, so that too also, and every other known form of enlightenment through with the use of herbs, right? All these things, if they are required by law from every government of every country in the world, I'm telling you that 99% of 95% of crimes would all around the world would disappear. 95% of lazy fat people will disappear. 95% of like child molesters and kidnappers and like fucking like corruption and bitterness and hate and like spitefulness and just loathfulness and like 95% of just cheating and scamming and just like bad things, 95% of bad things will disappear. Like this world will be like a chill world. And I was going to say it might come at the detriment of us not really progressing, should I say, technologically, but that is a lie because um these once you take these things, it's like they open up doorways for you to be able to collect ideas and because I mean I I heard that the guy that came up with this coronavirus PCP tests, like the guy that invented it, he said that he was doing mushrooms, and then the entities told him to invent it. Like that's crazy, right? That's fucking wild. So, and I mean, most things are better. Like I'm telling you that good concepts most good concepts are as a result of either smoking weed or like doing psychedelics, basically. Because think of it, from technology to, bro, have you listened to Funkadelic while high? Like I don't know if anybody is familiar with the band Funkadelic. Like even their name is like a mixture of funk and psychedelic. Like to show you how their music is. Like if you listen to Funkadelic when you're high, like if you're listening to like I'll Stay, or if you're listening to like Maggot Brains, or bro, it's like the way their music is, like the way they play. You know that they were high, they were on another level when they were making their music. If you want to tell me that somebody like HP Lovecraft didn't smoke weed, like you cannot tell me that that guy HP Lovecraft, the creator, like the father of cosmic horror, you cannot tell me that he did not smoke something while writing. Like even the way he describes, okay, for example, now in one of his book, what is the name of that book? From Beyond. That is the name of the book. When he's describing atoms, and when he's describing things that our eyes cannot see and things that go through us, like when he's describing all those things, like you know that this guy is describing the things that he saw when he was on an acid trip. Like that's just exactly how somebody on an acid trip would describe what the things that he saw. Because does he come up with all these fucked up stories? Like for example, now The Color Out of Space, that book, like what try to imagine a color that you have never seen before. Like all the colors that you can imagine are colors that you have seen before, even though you're not familiar with their names, even though you saw them only once. Like all the colors that you can possibly imagine are colors that you've seen. You cannot imagine a color that you've never seen before. Like just the same way that you cannot imagine a face that you've never seen before. Like so you want to tell me that, okay, for when you wrote that The Color Out of Space, it's like imagine him trying to the imagine someone in the most intelligent way they can, trying to describe a color that no human being has ever seen before. That's what HP Lovecraft did in that story. Like that's how fucking intelligent this guy was. And sadly, although in his time, like nobody gave him credit because nobody could believe what the guy was writing. Like what the fuck is this guy writing? It was just so odd that people were not yet evolved to be able to conceptualize what this nigga was writing. God damn. Like the human mind had not yet evolved to conceptualize what H.P. Lovecraft was writing in the 1920s. That should show you how good this guy was. And sadly, it was detrimental to him because he died broke. He died fucking broke. But now, in this modern day and age, now that we have gotten to the level that he was back then, that is to tell that this guy really used to take fucking acid, man. Now that we have gotten to that level, he's now the father of cosmic horror because his stories are fucking astounding. Like, his stories are mad. Imagine coming up with Cthulhu. Imagine coming up with the Hound. Imagine coming up with the one and only, the mad poet, Abdul Al-Hazred, the writer of the Necronomicon. God damn! Imagine coming up with that, to the point where people in real life are looking for a book called the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead. Bro, the Book of the fucking Dead. That's what this guy. How did this guy think of all this? See, no, he took acid. What are you telling me? What are you telling me? H.P. Lovecraft took fucking acid. Okay, this book now, this other book that he wrote, The Brotherhood. What are you saying? If you've read The Brotherhood, you know what I'm talking about. Because you cannot tell me that somebody in the 1920s wrote. What are you saying now, bro? I will change for you. What are you saying? What are you talking about? Please, if you've read The Brotherhood, you understand what I'm talking about. This guy talked about aliens. He talked about other worlds. He talked about other universes. He talked about like life being different from how we understand life to be in this world. He talked about like human cloning. He talked about alien invasion. He talked about like people. Bro, H.P. Lovecraft, the rights. That guy, the rights. Bro, that means that this guy was taking fucking acid. Now, when you now come into the world of fucking rocket science, you come to space. You come to look at someone like Nikola Tesla. See, man, let me not slap you. I go deck you. What are you saying? Nikola Tesla definitely took drugs, my nigga. This guy is fucking brilliant. You see, and you know another thing? He died broke too. Like, he fucking died broke because these people are so ahead of their times that the people around them don't understand, and so they don't give them attention because they see, we always fear and we always spite and we always hate what we don't understand. So these dullards, these simpletons, they were not understanding Nikola Tesla. Somebody he created electricity from air. What are you saying? See, bro, I will slap. What's it now? What's it the worry you, bro? Somebody created electricity from air. Nikola Tesla changed the world. Okay, the guy, bro, he changed the world, but he died broke. So these people were taking fucking mushrooms, man. And so when they take mushrooms, they tap into that. I've talked about this library of knowledge. That one time I was fucking high, bro. God damn. I was fucking high, and then I slept off, and then I found myself in this cosmic library. This giant fucking endless library. And the books, when I'm always telling this story, right? The way I can understand them as books, but they don't look like the way books look like, and they don't have words in them. They don't have like writings in them. What they have is like knowledge, ideas, music, science, law, like what are they calling it? When you're cooking now, like recipes, like art form, like video game ideas, like fashion. They have anything you can think of, like any idea that you can have. That's where they come from. Like I don't know if you've heard of fleeting ideas. Like sometimes they can just throw one into the world and watch if anybody catches it. Like that's how we have fleeting ideas, and it doesn't matter whether you catch it or even if you catch it. Humans are so reluctant and so fucking lazy that sometimes they will catch a very good fucking great idea and they will not do anything about it, and so the idea will end up leaving them. So that's just what happens. So all these brilliant people that I've talked about or I've called today, they were taking mushrooms because how else can you explain what they were doing years ago? Like how else? So if we humans are able to um implement, to put this into law, that we should be taking mushrooms, like every single person, when you get to the age of 20, you have to take mushrooms once every 3 months, or 2 times every 3 months, for an entire year. Bro, the whole world will be different. The whole entire world will be different, and we'll be a lot peaceful. We'll be a lot more peaceful and happy and fulfilled. You understand? And um also technologically advanced, like way more technologically advanced than we currently are. Like imagine that they did not burn the great library of Alexandria. Just imagine that. Imagine how far we would have come by now. Imagine what we would have known. The great library of Alexandria. If these fucking Christians did not burn that place down in Egypt, imagine what we would have known by now. They set us back 1,500 years. That's what these fucking Christians set us back. 1,500 years back in knowledge. They just fucked everything up. So if if the fucking Christians, because I don't know if you've read this book, The Immortality Key, talking about how this guy was trying to like prove that the way Christianity and all these contemporary religions started is that back then our ancestors used to like do a lot of drugs, and so the visions that they got from these drugs is what they used to start all this, because they didn't want for example, now I don't know how to really explain it. They didn't want the Romans to know about this kind of enlightenment that they have, and so they kind of encoded the secrecy. I don't know how that can make any sense, but they kind of encoded the secrecy of all they know into what we understand to be the stories in the Bible. So that is not a good way to like if I'm right about this, that is not a good way to like hide your secrets. What the fuck? Anyway, so that's what this book is trying to talk about, that most religions started. And he was talking, I don't really want to like, okay, he was talking about, like, for example, Dionysus, and like Dionysus is Jesus Christ, right? Jesus Christ is a replica or a parody of Dionysus, and and the way he explained it made a lot of sense, even though I'm not really able to explain it. So what I'm saying is that these people back then used to like do a lot of drugs, and not even drugs, like used to like do a lot of like psychedelics. And so if at least it could have somehow gotten to the Christians and made them to see basically, and I think the library would have been saved, and would have been able to know a lot more than we know today. So that's what will happen in an ideal world. But the problem now is like, why why are we so like how am I going to put it? Why are we so drawn to the idea of a utopia or an ideal world? Like, why do we like that? Why do we always fantasize about stuff like that? Or why do we always think of like a world where everything will be happy and we'll all be singing kumbaya and everybody will be happy? Like, why do we why are we always like trying to conceptualize and create or fantasize about something like heaven? Like, we even have heaven, for example, where everything is fine and everything is perfect. Like, if everything was fine and perfect, like if everything was perfect, nothing would be perfect because everything is perfect. And so there is, and we don't even know that they are perfect because we don't know that they are perfect. I don't know if I'm making sense. Like, we don't know that they are perfect in the sense that we have all our lives, everything has always been perfect. And so everything is just normal to us. Like, for example, now the North Koreans, right? They don't have a they don't have they have no concept of happiness. God, Jesus Christ. Imagine not having a concept of happiness. Like, imagine not knowing that happiness exists. Like, having fun exists. Like, imagine not knowing that you can go to a store and buy clothes and try them on and wear them and go to a party and have fun. Like, imagine not knowing that something like that can actually happen. Like, imagine not knowing that um you can just stay in bed all day and decide not to do anything and life will still be perfectly okay. Like, imagine not knowing that something like that was capable of happening. That is how North Koreans live. Like, they suffer so much. I don't know if you've seen this. I don't know if anybody has seen the podcast where, in one of these Joe Rogan episodes where he interviewed that lady. Sorry, Yeonmi Park, right? That's her name, Yeonmi Park. That, and she was talking about her experience as a child in North Korea because she escaped from North Korea with her mother at the age of 13 and had to work as a fucking sex worker in China. Oh man, what a life. So, but her experiences and what she talked about, growing up in North Korea, about how they just execute people every day like chicken, and how everything was a crime, like catching crickets and imagine their own concept of black markets in North Korea. Oh, listen, when I said that um China was the most appropriate uh, concept or appropriate representation of Oceania, from 1984. I forgot to mention North Korea because North Korea too should be in that list. Like, Oceania is a mixture of North Korea and China. You understand? So in China, like for example, in China, Big Brother exists, like, in the form of cameras and telescreens watching your every move. But also in North Korea, Big Brother exists because Big Brother owns everything, and Big Brother owns your reality, and whatever Big Brother says is true. Whatever he says is correct. Like, whatever, that he has never made any mistake. And so that's just what North Korea is. Like, the North Koreans literally, just like as me and you believe that tomorrow, for me, tomorrow is going to be Monday because today is Sunday. Maybe you might be listening to this on a Monday. For you, the next day is going to be Tuesday, just as the day that you're listening to this is a Monday. Like, just as me and you believe that after January is February, right? That's how North Koreans literally actually believe that Kim Jong Un and his father are actual gods. Like, I don't know if you've seen these stories. Like, when people who go to North Korea to for tour, because obviously, as a communist authoritarian state, you would have to have propaganda. That is like a no-brainer, right? So you would obviously want to invite people from all over the world to come to your country to see that, oh, there is nothing happening, there is nothing bad happening in your country, and the people are happy, and the people are thriving, and they are progressing, and life is good. And what? These people are very funny sometimes. So obviously you would want to have that kind of spotlight and that kind of media around you, or that kind of narrative around you. So they invite a lot of journalists from all over the world, from Russia, from America, England, they invite a lot of people to come to their country to see what. So on one of these documentaries I was watching, I think it was a Vice documentary where they went to China, and and even though you're trying to tell us how good you are, how progressive your country is, for some strange reason, you just don't like cameras. For some strange, odd reason, you just don't like and you just don't want cameras. How convenient. Why? Why don't you want cameras? So anyway, these people, they smuggled in camera, like hidden cameras, and then they were like videoing, taking videos of everything that was happening. So one of the videos, in one of the clips, like the guide, let's just say a guide, it was kind of like a guide, she was speaking English actually, was talking about how on the first, when Kim Jong Un was born, something like that. I'm just paraphrasing here, but this is something. It went like, it went something like, when he was born, he like shot an arrow and killed like five. Like, I'm not exaggerating. Like, this is what they were actually talking about Kim Jong Un. Like, when he was born, he was able to walk immediately. He shot an arrow and like about 125 miles, and it hit an apple, and he was able to win chess games, and he was able to like fight a cow. Like, literally, these are the things they're talking about this guy. So these fucking North Koreans really actually literally believe in this stuff that they're saying, because they've been brainwashed to believe it. Like, they've been conditioned all their lives to believe, just like they conditioned Winston in 1984. Like, they've been conditioned. Not even Winston self. Let's not even say Winston. Just like or should I say, people of the outer party, because the pros don't count. So people of the outer party have been conditioned, and even in the inner party self have been conditioned to believe this stuff. So there's another thing there's this podcast I was listening to one time, and this lady was talking about how she's a doctor, and she was working with Doctors Without Borders, and then they went to North Korea to like treat men with what is this stuff that happens or with and makes people blind. What is it called? I've forgotten the name. It starts with a fucking C. What is it called? Cataracts. Yes, I've remembered cataracts. So they went to these Doctors Without Borders went to North Korea to like treat people with cataracts, and after treating the men that had the disease, or should I say that had cataracts, and when they were able to see again, because in every household in North Korea, right, every single house has the picture of Kim Jong Un in it, and it has to be spotlessly clean at all times, according to what I've heard. Like, at all times, that picture has to be clean. That the rest of your house can be nasty and dirty. They don't care, but that picture has to be spotlessly clean at all times. And I've also heard that people have been executed because they left it dusty. So that's the level of fear that North Koreans live all day. Like, that is the level of misery that they experience all their entire lives. So like, there is no concept of happiness in North Korea. Like, nobody is happy, because they don't even know what's they cannot understand it. Like, just imagine you not being able to understand a language that you don't know about. That's just the way that North Koreans they don't even understand what happiness is. So that is the same way that if everything was perfect, right, then nothing is perfect, because there is nothing that we can compare the idea of perfection to, or against. There's nothing we can compare it against. Like, we've never, like, for example, now rich kids I cannot say that rich kids might not have gone through suffering, because every human being goes through suffering at one point in time, no matter how well you have it. Like, whatever we think is this, like whatever we think will bring us happiness because we see it in other people, might not necessarily bring those people happiness. Like most of the richest people in the world, as wealthy as they are, right? Like I would rather be contented, be content. What the fuck am I saying? Like I'd rather be contented with what I have, like the little that I have, than be those people, because their lives are always on the spotlight. Like everybody's always looking at them and just, it's like somebody walking. I don't know if you've seen these acrobatic people that walk on very long sticks. Like everybody will be just looking at them, and half of you be like wishing they fall, while half of you is just amazed at how talented they are and how they're able to like stand so high in the air on just two sticks, right? So that is just the same thing with rich people. Like we're all, we sometimes we wish that we could be as rich as them, but then other times you're like, I don't want to live this person's life. That like I don't want to live this person's life because their life must suck. Like there's this thing I always wonder, right? There's this thing I always there's this thing I always wonder to myself. Like, you know how somebody, like a normal person, can have like 20 pairs of underwear, right? Like for example now, somebody can have like 20 pairs of underwear, or let's say somebody can have like even 5 pairs of underwear, right? Because yeah, somebody with 5 pairs or even 3 pairs of underwear. Let's go that low. So you have this connection with these 3 pairs of underwear that you have, and so when one gets dirty, you wash it and then you put on a new one, and when that one gets dirty, and so you're able to see in real time how these pairs of underwears like get old and get worn out because of the constant use, and get dirty and get rewashed, and then how you're able to like trace how trace the dwindling of their feel. Do you understand? Like how from when they were new to them getting older and older and saggy, and you have this connection with them, like you have this understanding with them, like, oh, this is how things are, right? So I always wonder if something as if all these billionaires and all these wealthy people have that kind of connection with something that intimate. Like your underwear is very intimate to you, right? I don't know if um I'm just being weird. I don't know if I'm just being weird, man. But um your underwear has to be intimate. Like it has to be something, like for example now, women will feel embarrassed like if like let me say they're wearing like a short gown, right? And then something just the wind blows the gown and everybody can see their underwear, right? But for some strange reason also women would gladly and shamelessly flaunt bikinis on the beach where many people are. So I don't understand. See, women. I don't understand. Let me not even talk about women. Women. Let's not go there. So what I'm trying to say is that this is this is how intimate the underwear is to us. But I always wonder if like sometimes, like I mean we all know that sometimes, no matter how much of a neat freak most of us claim to be, like you can wear one underwear for like 1 or 2 days or 3 days max, right? So my question is, do rich people have that same, like do they have that same experience? Like how much underwear do rich people, like I've heard that people like all this fucking Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner and like their mother, what is their fucking mother's name self? I don't know. I've heard that they have closets and closets of clothes that they have never worn. Like piles and piles of clothes and underwear that they have never ever worn. So so um does that mean that they don't wear one underwear twice? Like how does that work? Like for example now, let's say what is that fucking name, Kim Kardashian, let's say, is are you saying that she does not wear one underwear once, more than once? And where does that um one time use underwear go to? Like, where does it go to? Do they throw it away, or do they just wash it and put it back on the shelf and get resell it? Like, what happens to like, okay, let's not even say women, because that might sound weird and sexist. I don't know. Let's say men. Like, let's say one rich billionaire, one old rich billionaire, like Dangote. Like, I don't know. Does Dangote repeat underwears? I don't know, man. So fuck. Um, I know what the name of this episode is going to be. I know what the name of this episode is going to be. So anyway, let me write it down so that I'm not going to. No, I cannot forget. The name is too funny to forget. So I let's just. I don't know. I don't know if rich people wear underwear more than once. It's just it's just a weird thought that usually goes through my mind. Like, do you what happens to your, like, even the, okay, let's not even say underwear self, let's just say clothes, right? Let's just say clothes. What happens to the clothes that they wear? Like, do they repeat clothes once? And we know that, like, on red carpets and events and stuff like that, it's a taboo to repeat an outfit. But let's say they're everyday house clothes, like, do they repeat it once? Well, I don't know. I don't know. And I think I have been talking for a very, very long time now, and I have to, like, end the episode here until next week's Sunday. Right. So I know that this has been a very enjoyable episode, and if you enjoyed it, please share the link with your friends, share it on your timeline, share it on your social media posts and stuff, and let me know what you guys think. Leave your feedbacks and let me know what you guys think if you enjoyed the episode. I think I have new ideas on how to, like, um on how to, like, put myself out there, and I'm going to be implementing that. So, and also follow me on Twitter at General Prime One, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye everybody.